Hi there, Good Word fam. It's Tisha Lewis, and this is The Good Word. Thank you so much for watching and spending some time with us. And if you are looking at your screen, some of you might be listening, but if you're looking at your screen, joining us is none other than Miss Leslie Johnson. Leslie, thank you so much for joining us. You have an incredible story, and I can't wait to get right into it.
All
You are
right,
the
thank you.
director for reentry services and also community partnerships for Prince George's County. But you are using your own experience to help others. So, first and foremost, welcome to the Good Word,
Thank you.
and tell us who you are and what you do.
Who am I? Well, I am a child of God, most foremost. And I believe, as a person of faith, that it is important for you to use your testimony to uplift and help other people. And God has allowed me to do that through many avenues.
And you are a woman of faith as well. Tell us a little bit about, we're talking about, and the work you do for people who maybe aren't as familiar with reentry services. We're talking about people who are formerly incarcerated, people who have had run-ins with the law and,
Yes,
in some way, shape, or form have a second chance to
yes,
matriculate back into society.
absolutely.
And you yourself have a personal experience
Yeah.
where you were able to turn it all around, and here you are today. So tell us about your story and your journey and how you're using your own experience to help others.
Okay, so my journey in this reentry sort of space started way back in 2003 when I was blessed to be the First Lady of Prince George's County. And in that role, I had the opportunity to work with women who were incarcerated in the Prince George's Department of Corrections. In my role there, I was able to start with others empowerment programs for the women there who desperately needed it. They had mental health issues, self-esteem issues, the full gamut. And so I was able to start a program there, and we had programs, we had graduations. Also, at that same time, I was able to open under my husband's administration, Leslie's House. I had nothing to do with the naming of that facility, but it was the first of its kind transitional home for women who had completed their time at our Prince George's County Correctional Facility. And I tell you, a lot of people would say that that was my other home because I spent a lot of time with the women there, talking to them, making sure that they had everything they needed to go back into our community and live productive lives. And so it was a blessing to be able to do that. Also, with that, in that home, we had a clothing closet. It was called My Sister's Closet, and it was housed in the basement of that facility. And that was a blessing because when the women come out, they have nothing. Many of them have nothing. And so we were able to provide them with clothes. And so it was just a blessing. So what I am saying is that my work in this area started long before my own justice involvement, which occurred in 2010. Um, yes,
Tell us about that. I want to make sure we're definitely getting to the part where you are, this is something that is you have firsthand experience with.
yes, ma'am.
Coming
Yes.
back out into society after, navigating the justice system. What happened with you, and how were you able to come through that? And how are you using that experience to help women today?
Yes. So in 2010, I found myself incarcerated at Alderson Federal Prison Camp. It is the same facility where most people will know it, where Martha Stewart was years before. Um, and I looked at my time there as an assignment from God because He had already placed me in the position where I was working with women who were incarcerated and those who returned home long before this happened. And so I didn't look at it as punishment. I looked at it as an assignment. And so while I was there, I was able to particularly work with young women who needed a lot of help. And I observed a lot of things. Women who were depressed that would, I remember one particular woman would sleep all day. And my friends and I asked her, why is that? And she says, so that I don't have to deal with the issues that confront me. Depression, women who were separated from their children. And my job was to clean in the facility. And so I would hear some of these awful conversations, their frustrations, the children's frustration. And also, what I saw was that many of the women did not receive a letter. And these were the same women who never received a visit. And I observed this when we would have mail call and we would have to go to the front of the dormitory. And I was blessed to receive letters, probably all but two mail calls in my time there,
Wow. So
which
much
was not the story of the majority of the women. And it was a sad thing to see them come to the front and walk back empty-handed, day after day after day. And so the Lord placed it on me that I would not, and I vowed to the women and I vowed to the Lord that I would not forget the women that I left behind. And so fast forward, in 2017, I was blessed to start in my missionary society. I am a member of the AME Church, and in the AME Missionary Society, we were able to start Pathway to Healing and Restoration. In that initiative, it has gone on continuously, even through the pandemic. We write spiritual letters to women and men incarcerated all over the country.
Wow.
And we have done now maybe over 4,500 letters. And it has just been a blessing to hear the responses from those letters. Sometimes these letters are the only ones that they receive.
You know, you brought up a good point. You said that you promised you wouldn't forget about the women you left behind, because
Absolutely.
this is something that you don't have to do. You don't have to spend your time post that season of your life looking back to help those who are still navigating justice and the justice system. Um, why do you do what you do?
Because that's what the Lord has commanded me to do. We are to help those who are in need. And that has always been part of me. I think it comes from my parents. They were those kind of people. And it's just in my DNA. And so that's what I do. I did
So,
it as First Lady. I did it as council member. I do it here now, blessed to be here at the state's attorney's office, um, um, and doing what I do. I'm just grateful.
so let's fast forward, because you've taken us to, I think, 2017, and now it's 2025, and you are
Yes.
the director of uh,
Director
returning
of Reentry Services and
reentry
Community
services, director
Partnerships.
of reentry
Yes.
services, and also community partnerships. And
Yes.
in that current role, what is the biggest need that you see for people who are finished serving their time, finished serving justice, and are coming out?
Connection with services that will help them. And that's what I do a lot of. We here in Prince George's County have a number of nonprofits that help people who have returned from incarceration. We also have the Bridge Center at Adams House, which is sort of a one-stop center. And so I work in conjunction with a lot of these nonprofits and our government agencies to provide services to our persons who are coming back to our community from incarceration. Also, I just try to uplift them and
Hmm.
encourage them, you know, and I tell them to just separate yourself from those labels. I used to really dislike when I had telephone calls. And, you know, I would have to make the call, and they said, this is an inmate from so and so and so and so. No, you're not an inmate. You're a wonderful child of God. And don't
Hmm.
let anybody else put labels on you.
How has your faith shaped the work that you do?
My faith,
Hmm.
the Lord
You're in
commands.
a world that's very black and white. You have attorneys and you have judges and you have prosecutors. And how does your faith, guide you?
Well, it guides me. Well, first of all, we know that persons need to have second chances. And I thank God that we have a state's attorney in Aisha Braveboy who not only talks about second chances, but truly believes in that. I mean, she hired me after I had been incarcerated, and there have been others. And so my faith says that God gives you second chances, and it's what you do with them. And He wants you to work to help the needy, whoever they may be. And so that's what I do.
When you came out, where were you emotionally at that moment in your life?
I was in a good space. Um, I never let the negativity um, that surrounded me to get into my spirit. I just didn't. I remember my daughter saying, "Mama, how can you?" That's what we do. You have to rise above the situation. Um, and, you know, I pray a lot, a lot. I pray over everything, my decisions. Um, I prayed before I got on this call, you know, and I said, God, just lead and direct and guide me um, in what I am to say. What am I, what am I supposed to do? And that's what I do. I do. And I know it's not easy for the majority to come out. Uh, Also, having been a senior, I did not have a lot of the challenges that many people have coming back. I was already retired after almost 30 years with the District of Columbia government. I was a retired council member. And, you know, I had health insurance. I had a home that I did not lose. But this is not the story of, I would say, the majority of persons who come back from incarceration. And so these are the issues.
Did you tell them that you were once in their shoes?
Oh, when I speak, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And there have been, God has given me many opportunities to speak um, uh, in at reentry events, to speak to women and men who have come back. And yes, it's not a secret.
And
Um,
what's their reaction?
Very positive.
Hmm.
I can tell you that about a month ago, the state's attorney and I and others were at MCIW, which is our only female uh, correctional facility in the state of Maryland.
Hmm.
And I was there. Uh, State's attorney had me speak, and I told them, I've been not at this facility, but I have been in your shoes.
Hmm.
And you could just see the connection, the connection. And I was able to speak to some of them individually after um, during our visit, but at the end of our presentation. And, you know, they were just happy to see somebody there that cared about them. And that's what's so, so important. A lot of these people go away and they are forgotten people. And I believe it is one of my jobs to make sure that that is not the dynamic, that they are not forgotten.
You all have an event coming up. You have an event coming up. Tell us about
Yes.
it. Hopefully we are this is airing, I believe, before your event. So
Okay,
that's so
fantastic.
folks will have some time to prepare. But tell us about the event that's coming up.
Yes. So this event is called The Untold Stories of Justice Involved Women and Girls. This is the second conference. We had our first conference in 2024, and it was hugely, I cannot stress enough, impactful. And so this is the second year. The theme for this year is healing, hope, and homecoming, rebuilding bonds, restoring futures. Um, why this conference is so important and so powerful is that there is an emphasis on hearing from those who are currently incarcerated.
Hmm.
Our first panel discussion will be of women who are currently incarcerated at MCIW. And we will hear their stories because for so long, and the reason that state's attorney wants to do this conference is for so long, the stories of men are told, but the
Hmm.
stories of women are neglected. And so this is an opportunity for the women to tell their story. And I can't tell you how powerful it is. It was last year. I'm sure it's going to be this year as well. We also have resource vendors. Right now, we have approximately 20 resource vendors that deal with different issues that pertain to persons who are coming out.
Hmm.
And so we have persons who deal with housing, the traumatic and mental health issues, um, uh, just a whole wraparound of services. And so the returning citizens, the persons who attend, who have come back into our community, will be able to avail themselves of these resources. And
And while
that's,
you're talking about it, I pulled it up on my phone. That's what I
yes,
was making
yeah,
sure
looking at
I wanted to
it.
look for. It's Wednesday, May 14th from
Yes,
6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at City of Praise Family Ministries, and
correct.
that's in Landover, Maryland. And you do have to register, and that information is on the
On our
City
website.
Attorney's website. But what will be
May I say one thing? The
yes.
resource vendors will be there early. They'll be there prior to the start of the conference. So they will be there from 4:30 to 5:50, and we'll also have a few refreshments during that period of time. So people will be able to visit the resource vendors prior to the start of the conference. Depending on timing, they may be also able to visit them at a break point during the conference. And so I just wanted those who are listening to know that as well.
What would you say? I was listening to you speak, and it seems like there's so much support for people who are coming out of the system, right? But what support is there that is preventative? How do we prevent this from happening?
Prevent what from happening? Not enough support?
Prevent people from becoming incarcerated, prevent them from getting to that point where they're, facing incarceration.
Well, we have to teach them to make better decisions.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that's it in a nutshell, to make
Right,
better decisions.
right,
Um, uh, to uh, from a young age, go into our schools, which we do in this office, go into our schools, try to discourage things like truancy,
right.
because a lot of times that leads to criminal activity. And so those are some of the things that I would think about. And also the church, you know,
Yes.
yes, when I was coming along, that's what we did. We were there,
Right.
Sunday
Same. We lived
school,
at
we were in
church. We were
church.
at church almost every day of the week and all day on
Exactly.
Sunday from morning
Right.
to evening.
Right. And that's what I encourage for my three children as well. So, and now my grandchildren.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think that is critical.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of folks have
Hmm.
gotten away from that. And I think we need to return. And we've seen a decline even since the pandemic. And so I hope it will rise again. Um, and also the church to play a part in reentry. It's so important.
Right.
I have to tell you that there are two gentlemen since our writing. They had been written to since 2017, and two of them have returned to our community. One is actually a member of my church, and another one is a member of one of the other AME churches in the area. And they're doing phenomenally well. Um,
Hmm.
one is very active in the prison ministry at his
Hmm.
church. And they grew up, in the church. They know the word, they know, so they return back to their roots. And I'm just
And
really,
that's just one of, the many ways that the church can step up
yes,
and have a helping hand
yes,
in people who are matriculating back into society after being incarcerated.
absolutely. They need to be a part, the churches need to be a part of the healing process because there is a healing process. Now, I said I didn't have any of the depression or mental issues, but as I said, there are so many that have those issues. And I think the church could help in that regard.
Leslie Johnson, what an incredible story you have. What an incredible mission you are on the ground level, doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Um, eh, what success story would you say stands out the most for you before we go?
My success story. Being able, after all that has happened, being able to stand firm and use the testimony to help other people, to help other people. And to, I constantly ask God in my prayers to just use me, provide me with opportunities to do that. And He has answered that. Um, and I tell people, um, look at me, I went away to prison and look where I'm working in the state's attorney's office
Mhm.
um, as the reentry and community partnership person. What a blessing. And so God has blessed me, and I wish to be a blessing for others.
And if he can do it for you,
He can do it for anyone.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Leslie Johnson, everyone that comes on the Good Word, we always ask them to leave us with a gem. You've left us with so many, but what would you say is the good word?
Well, from the word, I would say Psalm 27. That is my favorite psalm. I said it when my challenge came. I read it every single day. Even when I was on the council, I would be in my office reading that at the beginning of every day. And that would be it. Psalm 27.
Psalm 27.
Yes, ma'am.
And for people who are watching, where can they follow along on your journey?
Um, I don't do social media.
Okay, it's all good.
Yes, I don't do it. I did it as when I first ran for office, but after everything happened, I don't do it. But there are many opportunities, and I'm here in the state's attorney's office, and
Yeah, so it's Leslie Johnson. She has an event coming up in May, and you were in the state's attorney's office,
yes,
and
ma'am.
you have an incredible story. We'll also put obviously this conversation on our robust Facebook page. Just search
Thank
the good
you.
word, and then
Yes,
obviously wherever you listen to your streaming, this will be on Fox Local, and we are a fabulous series now, and you
thank you.
can people can listen to this conversation at any given point that they wish and hope to be inspired.
Yeah,
Leslie Johnson, thank you so much for joining us. We
absolutely.
appreciate your transparency, and we appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. And if people do need to contact me, they can at the office. The email is lejohnson@co.pg.md.us. I hope I said that correctly. It's a long email, but I look at my emails every day. Thank you
Thank you,
so
Wendy.
much, Miss
Thank
Lewis.
you.
I appreciate it. God bless you.